Record this computer. All right, friends, welcome to this week's Authority. I'm here with my friend Russell Nohelty, who is the author of The Author Stack here on Substack, as well as all kinds of places, all kinds of excellent books. He's a USA Today best-selling author in his own right of multiple fantasy series, including the Godverse Chronicles, the Ichabod Jones series, and the Obsidian Spindle series, and a whole bunch of other ones that are awesome. Check out his website in my links below because he's got a bunch of great books, both for authors and if you just happen to like sci-fi fantasy. He does some really awesome stuff. And he's also an expert on Kickstarter. But today we are going to be talking about surviving in a capitalistic society because he just wrote a book about that I've been reading and loving. And I think it's a really important topic right now, given how complicated life is at the moment. So, thank you so much for being here, Russell. It is a pleasure to get a chance to hang out with you because we don't get to do that nearly enough. So,
Absolutely. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
yeah, absolutely. So, tell us a little bit about like your background and where you come from with some of these things. As everybody knows, this is just should mostly be a free-flowing conversation. I don't have
Sure.
set questions, so.
Sure. I have been doing this for a long time now, 20 or so years. I've done movies and TV. I've made games. I've directed movies. I've touched so many aspects. I think that's what makes my career kind of unique in especially with among successful authors. Most successful authors got successful being authors, and
Hmm.
I got successful doing comics and books and running companies and like doing publishing and like doing conventions. And so like while most writers have taken this like I'm going to succeed on retailers and then now they're like I need to get direct sales going. Like I've been doing the direct sales and now I'm like, well, I guess my stuff is on retailers now. And I kind of like think retailers, well, I don't want to say are dumb because I don't believe that, but like I kind of can't believe that like authors haven't done direct sales before, but because they haven't, I understand like why they have so much anxiety. Because like if
Yeah.
I had to rely on Amazon's thing to go up and to not tell me that suddenly I'm losing a million page reads this month, I'd be pretty freaked out too all the
Yeah.
time. So my whole thing is about helping authors take control of their creative career. Like I am like anything that comes along and is helpful for them, I will like push. I
Hmm.
will usually what happens is there's a thing that comes along and people don't like it, but there's a section that so like I spend a lot of time like trying to be like, well, here's what I can pull out of AI or
Hmm.
capitalism or like whatever that thing is
Yep.
to like help further this cause of like giving authors the ability to do the thing they want. What I have found is most people want to leave their job to be authors. Like
Hmm.
or like they want to
That
have
is the
freedom
dream.
from something.
Yeah, that's the
But
dream.
then what happens is they end up so like let's say that they need a bunch of money and so the money is the job. But then like money becomes book and now books become their life and they end up being trapped in there
Yep.
just like they're being trapped in their job. And it's
Hmm.
worse because like the job like the job at least they could have freedom by writing or now the
Right.
freedom is tied to this thing that they're
Hmm.
doing. So like what I want to show people how to do is buttress the gap. So like
Yep.
you've created this gap that you can use with books, but like what you really are trying to do is if you is have this gap exist without like needing books
Hmm.
or like you could put anything in there. Like you don't
Hmm.
have to write that same series for the 38th time if you're bored. You can write
Yep.
whatever thing you want, or you could like make a movie or just go to the movies. Like people are
Hmm.
always surprised when I say, I don't know why you think I'm so like busy. I like spend most of my afternoons at the movies or like meditating or like taking a nap. I I spent last weekend, my wife was talking about how to turn one of her research articles into a nonfiction article. And I was like, I have a process for that. I just haven't ever defined it. So like I wrote like a 9,000 word piece about that on my
Hmm.
weekend because like I have the space in my life to do that. And like that's where I think traditionally business stuff has like affected authors the most when they become
Mm-hmm.
what I have seen is like they can't break free. But then when they break free, they get stuck doing these things. And then
Mm-hmm.
even the most successful authors among us, I talk to them all the time, they're still trapped in these mindset things. They're still trapped like in the past. They don't understand how to have freedom to do something or that like we should have peace. Like we should be
Yep.
searching for peace. Like we shouldn't be searching for happiness or sadness, or we should just be like able to have peace with all of these things. And some parts of capitalism can help you with that. A
Yep.
lot of them it cannot. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
same with almost everything. If you can like boil down the components of
Mm-hmm.
what is like take in the things that work for you and leave the
Mm-hmm.
rest behind. So like that's kind of what I've been doing. And because I've worked in so many formats, so many things, like I've directed documentaries, I've made TV sh I've like been on TV shows, I've
Yep.
like done background extra work, like I've done just so many things that most
Mm-hmm.
people couldn't even conceive of. When someone tells me that it's not possible to do a thing, I was like, well, that's just not true. Like I've literally watched this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Give you an example. So like horror books are not very popular, like comparatively to other genres. But
Yep.
horror comics are very popular and horror movies are incredibly popular. So like for you
Definitely.
to say my horror thing is not working, I would say, well, is it not working or is the medium not working?
Mm-hmm.
For fantasy, for like I do a lot of Portal Fantasy. Portal
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy is not a very popular genre, but in America, but like it's really popular in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy is super popular in like the D&D world. Like
Yep.
all of these things have so I would say how is the frame like where are you having this? Where could you have where could logically does it make sense to plan to have that success? And if you're not having that success, is it even reasonable? Like,
Yeah.
is expecting to have success before you have four books in a series reasonable? I would say no,
Right.
it is not.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of pieces and parts to all of this and figuring and also defining what does success look like for you? How are you defining success? Because that's one of those key things where people fall down a lot is what does success look like? Is it making money? Is it personal satisfaction? Is it book sales? Like what is the metric that we're using to define success for that person? And how are they
Right.
defining it for themselves? Because they might be saying, I'm not successful, but they could just be moving the goalposts on themselves and doing themselves damage. So a lot of the mindset work that you do is phenomenal for that kind of thing, like clearly defining all of these things. The pulling pieces that work from you for you out of other things is it really hit me because I do that with martial arts. I've been doing martial
Mm,
arts since I could walk. I've taken many different styles, and one of the things you learn as you experience martial arts and get better is you pull the pieces of that art that work for you, for your body, for your style, and then you continue onward and learn something else.
right.
And that principle is the same here, is finding the things that work for you because I've definitely experienced a lot of overwhelm in the state of like information out there because there's so many conflicting things. Like you do Facebook ads this way, no, you do them that way, no, you have to do it this way. And finding what works for you and what makes sense for you can be a big and complicated thing.
Yeah, or
And
if
it
Facebook ads
feels
are even a thing that you should be
right.
doing at all. Like,
Like,
again, people
are you
say you
ready?
can't make money not if you don't do Facebook ads or
Hmm.
Amazon ads. And I say, well, like, I don't know. I made $200,000 last year. Like, I didn't
Yep.
use Facebook. I used all the Facebook ads I did were unprofitable. Like, I made
Hmm.
$157,000 this year so far. And like, I've run zero Facebook ads. So,
Yep.
like, I don't know, like what is success? Like my
Yeah.
success is I can do the thing that I want and make cool
Yep.
projects and email people and put things together and like have cool opportunities step into my
Right.
lap. And like that may not be everyone's goal, but like on top of that, like all of my investments have like gone up by over $100,000 this year. So like
Yep.
I've overall in my life made like more money
Hmm.
while working less and making that success come more easily. So like
Hmm.
that is by any metric, like I feel like success. Now I have friends who would say $100,000 a month. If my income's not going up by $100,000 a month, that's not good enough. Like I want more. But like
Hmm.
reasonably, I think that like as an author, to be able to have health insurance, to be able to
Yep.
like have stability, to be able to have an audience, to be able to make money, to be able to make the projects you want, to be able to like watch your income go up, to like have a happy marriage, like all of these
Right.
things are like in general what you're told you could not have. And
Yeah.
certainly what you can't have without running ads. And I would say like, I don't know, man. Like I am doing this thing. And I know
Hmm.
lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of people who never run ads and are really successful. So, like,
Yep.
I think you're wrong just because I look with my eyes. Oh, I'll give you a
Yeah.
great example. So, people always told me before that like people don't read outside genre. Like
Hmm.
romance readers
Yeah.
only read and
That's not
I would
true.
and I would say, well, that's ridiculous because
Right. Like,
like I'm looking at literally people who are buying my this book and then this book. They're buying them
yep.
right from my website and then buying nonfiction. And like I'm
Yep.
and it's like this world of like, well, if you only see Amazon and if you only see also
Right.
bots, and those are the only people you follow, then of course that is the thing you will say because Amazon and all retailers are good at one thing. It's in showing you the thing you just bought and what the next thing you should buy is. That's
Right.
all they care about. But like, I've never met a human who was like, the only thing that I read is like this kind and I only watch this because then you are like okay well like you only read this kind of book what kind of comics do you read
Right.
what kind of like TV shows
Movies,
do you
TV
watch what
shows.
kind of
Yeah.
movies do you watch and it's always different so it's like well like now you're saying that like the media in the medium you
Hmm.
only read one kind of thing but like you actually everyone has tastes that are really broad and esoteric and weird
Yep.
and like when something catches them like they're going to follow that thing so like it's
Definitely.
just logically wrong, but also just like if you open your eyes and look at the world,
Hmm.
not like Amazon's
Right.
algorithm, but like the world, like the thing doesn't make any sense.
I don't know a single reader who only reads one genre, like in real life. Like, when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about the bookshelf behind me. I have like at least five or six genres back there. So, like, my favorite books are across multiple different genres. I love authors who write all kinds of different genres. I write different genres. So the idea, like, if writers want to write different genres, the idea that readers would only read one genre ever, the human mind doesn't really work like that. They might have particular tastes, but like one genre, like I'm autistic and we're known for having special interests, and even I'm not that special.
Yeah,
Like that's a little ridiculous.
I think people will fall into a habit of reading the same kind of book, and then
Yeah,
they will tap out and be like, well, I'm not. And then they'll go and read some other kind of thing. So like
right.
what people are seeing is, oh, for these 3 month period, Jenny Bergen read 50 romance books in like 50 sweet romance books about with tigers in them. But like
Right.
what they don't see is like then she went and watched 50 movies about like potato famines in Africa or like
Right.
whatever
Like
that thing is.
exactly. Like the idea that we only like pigeonhole ourselves into a single thing is just nonsense. I don't know where that idea came from, and that's like the way I understand target markets is usually if somebody is into, like, say somebody likes Dungeons and Dragons, there's a really high chance that they're going to like fantasy books, probably like sci-fi, because there's sci-fi and fantasy are almost the same thing with different window dressing, if I'm honest, because they're basically the same
Ooh,
in a
I
lot
disagree
of
with you
ways.
there.
Okay.
Well,
But I would argue that there's a huge amount of overlap in the difference is technology versus magic, but there's a lot of similarities in the core stories.
sure.
That would be a whole other podcast we could do. We
Sure,
could wrestle
sure,
over
sure.
genre.
Sure,
That'd be
sure.
fun. But even then, they will also probably like adventure novels. They might like Indiana Jones type novels, that kind of thing.
Sure.
Like there's so many different things that like just because they like D&D, they could extrapolate that they are into because a lot of D&D nerds also love Star Wars.
Right.
But
Well, so one of the things you mentioned capitalism at the beginning.
yes.
One of the things capitalists want you to do is force you to feel helpless. It's
Hmm.
called force helplessness, and they're very good at taking the locus of control outside of you into them. Because
Yep.
if you don't have the locus of control, you have to pay people to do things for you.
Hmm.
And and part of the way that they take the locus of control away from you is by forcing you to work 900
Right.
hours a week and like do all these things so you literally don't have time. But
Hmm.
like you actually have the control. It's one of I read this thing the other day. It doesn't matter what the ism is.
Hmm.
The people make the products. It's just who profits
Yep.
is the difference in the ism. So
Yeah.
like capitalism, communism, fascism, whatever the ism is, like
Yeah.
a different group of people are in power and like holding control. But like in all of those things, the people are the ones making it. Like
Yep.
a capitalist makes nothing. A
Hmm.
capitalist allows for the space for things to be made and the
Right.
protection for things to be made. But like a capitalist does not actually build anything
Hmm.
in and of themselves. And I differentiate that from like a Mark Zuckerberg type who like did build that thing because
Yeah.
capitalism is about like controlling the means of production
Right.
and the means of production are owned by people. Like he did
Hmm.
not create Instagram.
No.
Like he did not code one line of Instagram.
Right. He just bought Instagram whole cloth.
Right. And like that is when he became a capitalist. Elon Musk has
Yep.
always been a capitalist.
Right.
Like
Because he
he
never
did not
created anything.
Yes, like he did not create PayPal. He did not create
Yep.
SpaceX. He did not create Tesla, but like he certainly takes credit for doing those things
Right.
when all he did was provide stockholder value. And
Hmm.
like these are people I don't particularly like. I actually have
Yeah.
no real innate problem with capitalism. The problem I have with capitalism is it's dumb. It's just dumb. Like it
It
makes
is.
no sense. And like as an absurdist, I actually like as on the outside looking in of capitalism, I'm like this is just an absurdist wet dream because
Hmm.
like none of the things make sense. The problem is for authors. What I tried to get in my book was
Hmm.
capitalism is nonsensical, but it is consistent.
Yep.
Thus, it is gameable,
Yep.
and thus it is winnable. The problem is you expect capitalism to make sense,
Hmm.
and it does not make logical sense, but it is consistent. One
Yep.
plus one doesn't equal two. Potato plus squirrel equals two, but
Yep.
potato plus squirrel will always equal two. So I don't
Right.
know what all of these teachers are trying to tell you is I know what equals success for you. And the
Hmm.
truth is that like I don't know what that nobody knows what that is.
Right.
We can give you broad things. Facebook ads
Hmm.
work. They do. I mean,
Yep.
Facebook ads broadly work.
Yeah.
Specifically, they don't work very well for most people, but they do work overall. If you
Hmm.
could say like one thing that like a person could do to 10x their business, even if it's not authorship,
Yep.
Facebook ads would have to be the most one of the quickest ways that you could do that. There are some other ways like focusing on virality, like
Hmm.
influencer marketing, but like if you
Yep.
needed to make $2,000 this month, you could do worse than
Yep.
getting a Facebook ad campaign. You can't
Hmm.
really do that even with email unless you already have the emails because you have to.
Right.
So
You
it's
have to build
like,
up that list and so on.
right. So it's broadly applicable that
Yep.
Facebook ads run to a direct sales offer will be your most likely way to make money now if you have more than four books, if
Hmm.
like you have a good offer, if your stuff is good. But like how to make potato plus squirrel equals success? Nobody can tell you. We can just
Hmm.
and I have taken enough Facebook ads courses and run enough Facebook ads to know that like after some point of like these are the broad best practices, the answer is always testing because we
Yep.
don't even know. The best performing Facebook ads, if you look at most people, if you like, what's your best performing ads? They'll be like, that doesn't even make any sense. It's like a
Yeah.
cat like drinking out of a saucer for like a
Hmm.
fantasy book. And you're like,
Yep.
these things don't make sense, but it works, so I'm not touching it.
Right. It's kind of like coding. Like the program is working, and if we make eye contact with it, it'll stop working. So we're going to stop looking at it and just let it do its thing. And
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
that I've had that experience a lot. Not so much with ads because I'm not at the point where I'm selling a ton of books. Right now, I mostly sell my editing services. My books
Cool.
are secondary, which I'm hoping to bring up to primary eventually. But the idea here being that sometimes things just don't make any sense, and you have to accept and embrace the fact that they don't make any sense in order to move forward because it works. Like the color red will make people do XYZ. Does it make sense? Not really, but sure.
Right. This is why the dumbest humans on the planet are the most successful with capitalism.
Hmm.
Like, because they can accept that it doesn't matter, that it doesn't make sense. It makes them money. Like the most successful people in authorship, and I'm not saying they're dumb because like they're
I
maybe
get
they're
you.
my, but like they're the ones who are able to, they're very manifesty, a lot of them. Like all of these
Hmm.
romance authors who are super successful are very high in woo. And because
Hmm.
like one of the things on manifesting is like hold your want tightly, hold your how loosely. And so they're able to give up a lot of this, like, okay, Facebook ads work. I don't have to know. As long as it
Yeah.
makes me $1 million, the process doesn't matter. The
Right.
things don't matter. And like you'll see when you see things like how does Marianne Williamson like make so much money when like she's
Hmm.
career like when you listen to her speak on a political stage, she does not, it's like, but like that is the only way to have success because the more successful you get, the more you can't predict it. The more
Yep.
unpredictable, the more the chaos engine works in your favor. But like the more you have to hold loosely. Like,
Hmm.
I don't know. I might make $1 million from this interview. I don't have any idea. Like, I probably will not make much money
No.
from it or any money from it.
I don't earn
But
any money
like,
from my
but
podcast.
like a lot of those things don't make money. It's like, so okay, I think the strategy, regardless of whether you're running ads to books or not, like every author should be running ads or doing things to
Hmm.
consistently build their email list,
Yep.
even if they don't use it for 2 years, even if they send things that don't make sense, even if they just build, because like that is how you, when you need it,
Yep.
you will want it. And
Yep.
everyone is saying, I want things now. But like they don't, you have to be building 2 years
Yeah.
before you need something to actually have success. So
Hmm.
when someone is saying like I want success now, I say, great, what did you build 2 years ago?
Yeah,
And they
because you need
say,
to. Hmm.
"Hmm,
Yeah, success, like in anything, regardless of author space or anything else, being successful at a thing requires diligent, consistent work into it. If I want to be a good violinist, I need to start playing violin and practice and put effort and work into it and build the groundwork. If I ever want to play Carnegie Hall, I have to play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star really badly for a long time.
right.
It's the same
Well,
idea.
yes, and like people want the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm.
Right? Like authors want the benefit of the doubt, but they're not willing to build the trust to have the margin to
Yep.
get the benefit of the doubt. They just want it.
Yep.
They want people to read their book and love it. But like
Hmm.
part of reading a book and loving it is that someone will also hate it. So if
Oh
you
yeah.
make a book that is deeply resonant, you have to accept that 1 star reviews will
Yep.
happen.
Hmm.
And if you want 5 star reviews, like
Yeah.
every 5 star review, probably there's a 1 star review and vice versa.
Yep.
And what you're doing by building an audience, a mailing list before you need it is like you're building people who are more likely to give you 5 star reviews to
Yep.
understand why. It's like the Taylor Swift thing that like Taylor Swift's album just launched. And so like I went to the movie because like I
Hmm.
like Taylor Swift and I learned a lot of
Yeah.
like why, and I ended up liking the album more than most people probably because I know the backstory
Yep.
of
The
it. But
context.
like
Yeah.
how many people are going to do that work versus just listen to the
Right.
album once and say they hate it? It's like
Hmm.
you Taylor Swift gets the benefit of the doubt. For me, even when she makes an album that maybe doesn't resonate as highly with me, because
Hmm.
I have for so long gotten so much value. And so
Yeah.
what authors want to do is get all of the love that Taylor Swift has without putting the work of showing up.
Yep.
She shows up randomly in Tumblr forums and just like
Yep.
posts and like
Hmm.
comments on stuff. Like
Right.
she spends hours signing things. She made an entire movie about this. Like it's like there was a whole 15-year history that got you
Yep.
up to like her having that $2 billion success.
Hmm.
And like frankly, you don't have the receipts.
Yeah, that's
Not you
absolutely true.
specifically.
No, I don't have, I mean, I do have some receipts. I've been around for 17 years and I've been working hard as an editor for 17 years. So I've got those receipts, which is why I have good amount of work and clients as an editor at this point. That's why I'm on the board of directors for the EFA. I have those receipts. As an author, people only know I've launched my first novel in 2022, so I don't have a long history of receipts for that. I've got a bunch of short stories out, but like anthologies aren't exactly top sellers when they don't have any big names in them.
Right.
So the key to developing that is cultivating a relationship with people, which is why I have a TikTok and why I'm doing things like this, have a podcast, developing getting to know people and having people get to know me. That's how you develop those receipts that no, this person doesn't in fact suck. Like,
Okay. But in fairness, the receipts you have are only with the people who are in your audience.
yes,
Like you
absolutely. I
haven't
don't.
you like some of like Monica, my ex-business partner,
Mhm.
she's been following Taylor Swift since like the beginning of her career. So like she's
Yep.
got 15 years of receipts with Taylor
Right.
Swift. Like I've got 10 years of receipts with Taylor Swift. And so
Right.
like even that 17 years that you have been doing
Right.
editing
It's only
gets
with people who
you
knew me.
yes, and gets you the
Mhm.
like CV.
Right. I have the
But like,
resume.
right, yeah,
And
yes,
absolutely, like people need to know me and get to know me now, and inviting new people means I have to build that reputation with those new people every time they meet me,
right,
which is a fair and reasonable thing. I don't expect us like it's not like you walk up to somebody at a networking event, hand them your CV, and be like, "Behold, I am the best." Like that's not how it
right.
works.
Yes, so when people launch a thing, I say I like people launch a Kickstarter and they're like it didn't go as well. I'm like, okay, like how many people were in your audience a year ago? And they're
Hmm.
like, it's like I don't understand. I have like 2,000 people on my mailing list now. And I'm like, okay, you probably got the majority of them as you were building up to this Kickstarter, right? They're like, yes, most of the time they don't do like audience building until they
Yep.
are less than a month for the
Right.
Kickstarter. I'm like, great. A audience is predictive. A year. Your success now is predictive of where your audience was a year ago. So you had 100
Hmm.
people, you made $1,000 on your list. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, your list, there's no reasonable expectation that these 900 or 1,900 new people who came onto your list will buy from you for 1 year. Because here's the
Hmm.
thing. I don't remember which book I put it in, but I put in one of either this book or the publishing book I'm just launching. It is that first time they see you, that first time they see a launch, you get put on their list.
Hmm.
That second time on a launch, maybe you make it to the top of the list, they buy. Then they put that book away for during the third launch, they're like, oh, maybe I should read that book. Then they
Hmm.
read it by the fourth launch and they'll make a decision on you. Your
Which is why the
only
fourth
job,
book.
yeah, yeah. Your only job as an author is to have people make a decision about you. That's it. That's the
Hmm.
your only job as an author.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Like, and it definitely tracks. Like, I have three fiction books out right now. I have two nonfiction, but those are different audiences. So, in order to gain traction, I know that I need to the fourth book in the series behind me. That has to come out at some point, not too far in the future. And I've heard for years that doing live events and doing a lot of things until you hit book four is not really going to be profitable because, as you've pointed out, people haven't yet made their mind up about you and they don't know you yet.
Sure. I mean, so I would say, like, why does it have to be profitable? Like, like so I spent $50,000 on advertising last year and I lost
Hmm.
$26,000 or $28,000 on that
Ouch.
effort at the time. But
Ah.
like now I have a 50,000 like from that moment when I stopped really doing those big audience things in like June of last
Hmm.
year, I had like a 55,000 person audience. And
Yep.
now a year past that, it's like settled. And most of those now it's like I had to cut a bunch of people. So it's like 46,000 people now. But
Hmm.
like it's most of the time, almost every time I launch anything, I get like 20,000 views on any article that I read
Hmm.
that I do. And some of those people track back to the other stuff. So
Yep.
like the people that my friend Brandy June is a great example. Like she was doing, she was volunteering at live events for like 2 or 3 years before she got her
Yep.
agent, and like 4 or 5 years before her first book launched.
Hmm.
And now I just went to her third book launch, and I like her stuff enough. I got like a tattoo of her thing on my arm. Like
That's
that's like
awesome.
the thing that like her third book launch did. And like
Hmm.
that's not 4 books. That's two.
Yeah, that's
That's a
fair.
duology and a third book. But like it's the
The audience
con
building and the networking and the showing
yeah.
up.
Right, and the showing up that like
Hmm.
it turns out that the best way to get someone to like you is to stand near them without attacking them for as long as you possibly can in their
Hmm.
orbit. Like the more times you're around somebody and they realize that you're not a threat, the more
Yep.
likely they are to like you. You don't have to say one word. Now, I would not just stand behind them at like a cough. I'm just saying
Just
like at
stand.
events. But
Yeah.
like the more likely you will have those conversations.
Hmm.
And so this goes to the thing of like on what time scale do you need to be profitable?
And what does
And
success look like? Like, is success in that ad campaign profit, or was that success gaining the audience to be future profits as you interact with them and get to know them? Like, so we're back to what does success mean?
right, well, and like so okay, so every whenever somebody reaches out to me and I offer them to write on the author stack, I can basically for free, I can guarantee them basically 20,000 people will at least view the article. I don't know how many
Yep.
will read it. And like literally that opens every door. Like
Yep.
anytime I meet somebody, I can be like, "Oh, do you want to write for the author stack? It's got 50,000 subscribers." And
Yeah.
like what does that value then those people show up as contributors to the author
Yep.
stack. It gets me into way more rooms than
Hmm.
like I ever got to at 20,000 subscribers. Like there was something
Hmm.
that happened at like 35,000 that really changed things. But like
Hmm.
what I'm not saying go drop $50,000 on
Right.
ads. I'm not saying do
Right.
that, but like the it compounds.
Yeah.
Like every person that's in your audience is another opportunity for them to share.
Hmm.
And for and every time they share with their audience. Every time that person can share and share and
Hmm.
share, the more compounding effects you have.
Yeah.
We
It's
don't
an
think about
exponential.
Right. We don't think about how like the difference between 20,000 and 40,000 subscribers is not arithmetic. It's
Hmm.
exponential
Yes.
because so few people have that. A lot of
Yeah.
people have 20,000 subscribers on their email list now. Like, but like very few have like 50,000, even fewer have 100,000, even fewer have
Hmm.
250,000. So like the more you compound those numbers, the more you stand out. And
Yep.
if you want to be like the person. So like if you want to be like editor extraordinaire where everyone knows you, it helps to be on the board of like an
The
editorial
right.
association. Because now it's like, oh, I'm not one of a billion editors. I'm one of like five. I'm like, if you trust this organization, I'm on the board of this organization. So like
Right.
maybe we should all trust me a little bit more.
Yep. Exactly. And developing that social cred with people also matters. And that's one of the reasons why I like doing interviews with people. Not only does their audience see my stuff if I tag them and share them on Facebook, Substack, and other locations, but in addition to that, my audience, small as it is, also sees them and everybody wins. Like everybody wins in this because we're not in competition with each other. There's
Right.
I can't release enough books to satisfy a reader in my like unless I can't release a book a week no matter what I do. That is just not humanly possible, safe, or sustainable.
Sure.
And so nobody's in competition. So sharing that to some extent, it benefits everybody. Everyone wins.
Sure. But all winning is not created equal.
No.
So, like, if I share this interview, you
It,
will win
way
considerably
more
more
than
than I
yes.
will in this thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not expecting you to share the interview. I'm just saying like
Right.
if but everybody does benefit some.
Right. Yes. But like my point is, if we instead focused in not on what this launch is going to do, but like the 10-year arc of my career, like
Right.
putting $28,000 of lost money into ads, like brought me to probably the reason why Plot Drive is even working with me right now. Like
Yep.
how like people are like want to collaborate, like the people
Mm-hmm.
that take notice. And so like
Yep.
we are it like my last book launch went terribly. It just went badly. Like it
It
raised
happens.
below I said what I said. And like really, if you went and looked on the 76 books or whatever I have on Amazon, like they don't have that many reviews. Like I don't make that much money from Amazon, but like that is not the 10-year arc of my career. Like I
Right.
focus my effort on like having the most amount of humans on my mailing list as possible that are
Mm-hmm.
engaged
Yep.
because then good things happen, and I don't know what those good things are. So the question is not like, should I wait to 4 books to start going to events? The thing is, how early do I want to start getting traction? Because if you want to start getting traction on book one, you need to start get building traction a year or two before book
Mm-hmm.
one. Because like that is how you'll attract if let's say you want a publishing deal. That's how you're going to
Mm-hmm.
attract an editor. That's how you're going to
Yep.
attract all of these things. Like you're going to sign a deal with a publisher 18 months before your book comes out.
Yes.
Your first book comes out. And
Mm-hmm.
if that is true, then you have to get an agent on board 6 months before then because they have to whip your book into shape. That's two
Yep.
years right there already. So like
Mm-hmm.
now I'm saying you should be building your audience 2 years out, but like
Yep.
you're probably a year from a publishing deal if you're starting right now, if that's what you
Mm-hmm.
want. The
Right.
problem is that like you want the publishing deal today.
Yes.
And it is a thing to go back to our thing about capitalism. It is the problem, this immediate gratification. The
Yeah.
longer you can delay gratification, the better you are going to be. The
Mm-hmm.
longer time horizon you have to dump money into marketing, the better off
Yep.
you will be.
Yep.
Like, because as long as you're doing it with intention,
Yep.
like I read an article about someone who did really great doing standalones, and she said, in talking with other people who do great at standalones, they don't focus on writing ads to the book. They run ads to their mailing list, and
Yep.
then they're like, "Well, I have 100,000 people on this mailing list, and if 1,000 people buy this standalone,
Right.
great." So,
Yep.
like, where are you? Like you said about the what do you want? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you want your career arc to be? Because ads are going to give you an immediate return, but also the minute you shut them off, they're going to immediately shut off.
Yep.
And that means you have very little margin of safety. And
Mm-hmm.
mailing list, on the other hand, or
Yeah,
like
those are
having a
long.
circle community or whatever that thing is, those things stay with you
Yep.
for a lot longer. And you might
Absolutely.
pay to have that list done. You might not get anything from that list for years, but the longer you
Mm-hmm.
can invest in there and the bigger that it gets, the more your career compounds.
Yep.
And we we are so focused on the immediate thing
Yes.
that we give the locus of control to Amazon or to
Yeah.
Facebook or to these things it's because it's harder to hold it for ourselves. It's harder to take responsibility and say, "Oh, this book launch didn't go well, and that's on me." It's so
Yep.
much easier to launch
To,
a book on
yeah.
Amazon that doesn't do well and be like, "Oh, the Amazon algorithm."
Yep. It really is. And that is something I've seen a lot, the lack of ownership, I guess, of your success or not success in a lot of ways. And I've witnessed that many, many times where people will blame outside sources for things not going well when sometimes sometimes things just suck. That's just a reality. Sometimes things just suck and it's not anybody's fault. Life just is like that occasionally.
But that is
However,
how
other
capitalism makes you.
yeah.
Capitalism wants you to be helpless because
Hmm.
then you will pay. So
Yeah.
when you have a pain point, you will pay astronomical amounts of money
Yep.
to relieve that pain point.
Right.
And if you feel like you could relieve it yourself, guess what?
Hmm.
You're no longer profitable to.
Right. And obviously the desire is for you to be profitable long term. It's like going into planned obsolescence with electronics and the lack of ability to fix anything yourself. Like it's the same idea. If you they leave you helpless to fix a thing yourself that broke, you are reliant on them to continue purchasing the thing, and there you go.
Right. So here's how to flip this to work for you. Because
Absolutely.
knowing how capitalism works,
Yeah.
nobody wants to take control. Like, if you start a podcast and you know that like a great guest is having a book launch, if you email
Hmm.
their publicist, they're probably going to do your podcast even if you have 100 people on it.
Yep.
Probably because like why wouldn't they? Like
Right.
they don't want they have to do all the things. Their
Hmm.
guilt of not doing your thing will like eat at them.
Yeah.
Similarly, like if you start knowing that no one that here's the thing, everyone wants a joining community, no one wants to lead one. So if
Yep.
you can just be like, I'm going to take the burden of starting an anthology, the amount of people who will line up behind you is incredible.
Yes.
And once you have that like success, you can
Hmm.
then do it again and again and again and again.
Yep.
Or you can say, you know what, I don't longer want to do an anthology, but I want to do one with this publisher. And so
Yep.
like I have a relationship with the publisher. We talked about
Yep.
how I'm helping authors turn their books into comics. And like I
Yep.
have a publisher for that because I worked with her for like 10 years. I've worked with her
Hmm.
on and off for like 5 or 10 years to like do all
Right.
of this stuff. And so like y- if you if you can just if you can develop the pain tolerance to do these things that are very hard
Yep.
to not to necessarily even pull off, just to like have the burden of. Like if you are
Hmm.
doing an anthology, you have the burden of all of those other authors.
Right.
But like if you can just take it, you
Hmm.
can very easily daisy chain your way up the level of success way beyond what you have any right to be success to your level of success. I
Hmm.
started a podcast because I started going to conventions
Yep.
and I would go up to people and they had no time for me. But I
Hmm.
started noticing that they were doing every podcast that came up and
Yep.
asked. And so I was like, hey, I should just do that. So I started a
Yep.
podcast like 10 years ago and I interviewed all of the people. I asked them all of the questions that I have, and then I used those strategies to succeed. And some of them
Yep.
worked, some of them didn't. I just tested them all on my business. And I
Hmm.
ended up with like after like a year, a really good array of like things that worked for me.
Hmm.
And I was able to use them to have my first six-figure year and then my first multi six-figure year.
Yep.
And all of that happened because I was willing to take the burden.
Yep.
And that is how this is crass, I know, but like capitalism teaches everyone to take the burden.
Yep.
So like knowing that, like this is what I mean when like capitalism is consistent and thus it is
Hmm.
exploitable because like you can do something good. which is like put an anthology into the world. I'm not saying scam these people. I'm saying like they all
No.
want to be in an anthology. Like
Right.
do a cool anthology that they can be part of, that they can be proud of, that they can want to
Yeah.
share, and like they will do it because for however many years they have been taught they can't do this thing. And
Right.
so you are showing them that like, well, I'm a published human. I'm gonna publish you. So suddenly it doesn't like they're all published authors now. Anytime anyone who's been in my
Yep.
anthologies complains about this, I'm like, well, I don't know. I published you, so you're a published author. You
Hmm.
have a publishing contract. Wannabe Press published your work. You
Yep.
have a publishing contract. So for the rest of your life, you are a traditionally published author.
Yeah. And that is something. That's not a nothing thing. It may not like bring them $1 billion, but they still are a published author traditionally, and that does mean something. And that
Yeah.
can open doors for you in certain places in certain ways too.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go to the media page on russellnohelty.com, you will see literally hundreds of interviews and things that I've done for different podcasts over the
Hmm.
years. I've spoken at like 50 or 100 some odd different unique kinds of events, like from Author
Yeah.
Nation to like a local comic convention. I had
Hmm.
no, and like all of that builds over time. Looking back on it
Yeah.
now, I'm like, wow, that's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Like looking back, I'm like, Karen, so 20,000 people opening everything you read is not normal. She's like, it's not normal. I'm like, okay. Because like it is normal for me. And like I am just some guy. Like
Hmm.
I've never had an office bill. I've always worked in roughly the same area for the whole 10 years I've been in Wannabe Press, which is the space you see in my room. It's like 300 square feet is my whole office and my garage.
Yep.
I've never had even a storage unit for like Wannabe Press. And like from there, I used my taste to write things that were in my control.
Yep.
Like I didn't know how to write a book, but I knew how to write a blog, so I wrote a book in blog form. I was like, I can probably do
Hmm.
that, and I could do it. And then I like got better and better, and like I couldn't do comics, so I like hired an artist who was like better than me at doing comics,
Hmm.
and was like, okay, let's make a comic together. And I was just I
Yep.
paid them money to like do the comic, and then I
Hmm.
had like a comic that people were like, whoa, guess what? 15 years after I started this comic, I still talk about Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter today, and people still read it and love it because like I made a good thing. I made a thing that
Yep.
was like unique and good. And like again, these things compound. We think about
Yep.
compounding interest with like retirement savings,
Yep.
right? Like, but if you know anything about compounding interest, you know that like the first 20 years of compounding interest, almost nothing happens. It's
Hmm.
just looking at it frustrated for like 10, 15 years and being like, why am I
Yep.
even doing this? And then like once you hit like 45, it starts to like really work for you. And suddenly you're
Yep.
like, wow, I'm glad I
Hmm.
put the money in all these years, even though I was getting no return on it because
Yep.
like I'm suddenly making a ton of money, like
Yep.
for some reason. And that is not unlike how a career works. It
Hmm.
is, I can't tell you when you will go
Yeah.
exponential. But like if you figure out enough things, you're gonna be good at a couple of them.
Yep.
And if you haven't found the things that are really you're really good at now, you just have to keep doing stuff. And
Yep.
when the biggest thing that people talk to me about in when I do consulting is like, well, what they want an answer from me.
Right.
And I'm like, nobody's gonna come save you. Like you have to save yourself. It's that
Yep.
Stabbing Westward song.
Hmm.
Like I cannot
Ooh,
save
good
you. You can
reference.
only save yourself. So just save yourself. Like save yourself.
Hmm.
Everyone can save themselves. It doesn't mean like you may not be able to be, look, nobody is going to be the next, like I almost said Joan Collins, Nora Roberts here.
Hmm.
Because Nora Roberts already exists.
Right.
But like somebody is gonna be the next Nora Roberts.
Yeah.
Because like the universe needs, like capitalism needs a Nora Roberts to
Yep.
exist. And like they need to make the next one. And
Yep.
like a great cook can't be anyone, but anyone could be a great cook,
That's fair.
if
Yeah.
that
That's
makes
true.
sense.
Yes, it does.
The it's like a great cook could come from anywhere.
Yep.
But like you need to do the work to even and
Mm-hmm.
like you will catch breaks.
Yep.
Will you catch the right breaks to make the thing? No, that's why it's so important to hold what you want tightly and how you get it loosely.
Yes.
Like if you and also to make your goal something that is realistic.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Because so we talked about 4 books in a series. The reason why you have to write 4 books in a series is because there's no reasonable expectation that you will make a profitable return on ads until you have at least 4 books. It might take 6 books, it might take 10 books, but there
Yep.
is a place that you will start seeing a profit
Yep.
because you just like money exists. But if you have only written 2 books and you are running ads to them unprofitably, guess what? There is no reasonable expectation that you should be making a profit on 2 books.
Yeah.
So the fact that you are not tells me absolutely nothing about you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right. That
yeah,
it doesn't have a whole lot of useful context. I think we're in the couple minutes we have left. If there's one thing you want people to take away from this, like one core crystal theory, what would that one thing be?
a lot. I just to finish that last thing that I
Yeah,
said, I
please.
guess is what I would do is people come to me and they ask me for like my advice on Kickstarter. And I always
Mm-hmm.
ask them, have you read my book? I've now two
Yep.
books on Kickstarter, one old
Mm-hmm.
one and one that's still available. Have you taken my course? Have you listened to my podcast on Kickstarter? And they always say,
Yep.
yes, I've done all those things. So that when I look at their thing, I'm like, there's no way you read my book because like this is not
Yep.
how I teach you. And they're like, oh no, I just figured it's where it's like, but I know how the mechanisms of my system work.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if you do it my way, you should get X results. And I know all the failure points in my system.
Mm-hmm.
If you want me to do your system, I can't tell you the failure points in your system because it's not my system. I haven't tested
Yep.
that. Like they do
Yep.
that with web pages and web stores and all Facebook ads, everything. It's like if you are doing things that don't have a reasonable expectation to succeed, then you might succeed. But if you don't, all that has happened is that did, you were, you did exactly what was the expectation. And
Yep.
like, there is no fault in doing a thing that you have no reasonable expectation for and not succeeding. I
Yeah.
do find fault in if you say, I know how to do it in 2 books, because I think that's a fluke. Usually,
Mm-hmm.
generally. Now, if you have success in a fluke and you do 10 other things and you can figure out how to get this done in like 2 books, okay, cool, that's great. But like just
Yeah.
saying you had one series with 2 books, I would say, was it a contemporary mafia romance? It probably was. If it succeeded in 2 books, probably
Yep.
was. Like it probably wasn't a weird sci-fi horror book about squirrels. It was probably something really mass market, and you probably hit a niche that was like hot
Yep.
at the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a
No.
different thing you can do. If you can look at a niche and say, "Wow, this is where the hot thing is," write that
And
book, release it while it's hot. You can also like break the
mm-hmm.
algorithm and like have success faster than those 4 books. But just having 2 books that are not hot to market in a hot genre and failing doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
Having 10 books in a thing and failing tells me a lot.
Yeah.
I can then look at a lot of failure points there. And
Yep.
it's, being like, well, your ad spend's then high enough, like
Yep.
you don't have a big enough audience, like yada 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 yada, whatever there's like 1,000 things that we could test in that
Mm-hmm.
thing. So but it's like you should not expect to have success unless there is a reasonable expectation, unless it's like other people, a lot of other people have had success doing this thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you want success on one book, you should write nonfiction because
Yep.
you could then use that book to like
To sell
sell
talks and
speaking
so
and
on.
all that other
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And it's like, if you don't want to do that, then like you can't expect to just sell all of that stuff on one book. Like
Yep.
the let them theory is like an incredibly successful book. But Mel Robbins has been doing this for a long time, and she teaches the
Mm-hmm.
let them theory on like all of her things. And so
Yep.
like it's like, okay, well, that there's no reasonable expectation. It's like someone did 20,000 units on a book, and I was like, I wonder how that happens. I'll look at their Instagram. They got like 500,000 people on their Instagram. I'm like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
like that's why they got a $300,000 advance on
Yep.
their book because they had a 500,000 person Instagram. If you have five people in your Instagram and you get 5,000 people, $5,000 advance, like that is not bad because the expectation
Yep.
and what you get are at odds with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you should not beat yourself up if you are doing something that doesn't get results and there is no expectation that you should get results.
Mm-hmm.
This is why when I train Kickstarter, I tell people I have a simple one-page Kickstarter worksheet
Mm-hmm.
and follow it, and you'll probably make 500 to $1,000. Anyone will probably make 500 to $1,000 because your mom will come in or your uncle
Yep.
or I don't know, your best friend will come in and get you to
Right.
like $500. And
Mm-hmm.
like you might get $5,000. But like if you haven't launched a campaign using that formula and failed, then I don't know what to tell you. Because like you need to
Yep.
run the campaign for me to tell you how many people will back your next campaign because that's
Yep.
the data. I don't know how many people in your audience love Kickstarter. I don't know how many, like I tell you,
Right.
when you run a Kickstarter campaign, do 4 weeks of pre-launch and you should get 25 people
Mm-hmm.
each week you do pre-launch so that by the time you
Yep.
launch, you have 100 people in your audience. And if you don't
Mm-hmm.
do that, then
Well,
I don't know. Like, if you're at week 2 weeks before and you have zero and you haven't followed the pre-launch sequence, then I don't know what's going to happen. I have no
God only knows
idea.
what's gonna happen.
Like, you might do great and you might not do great, but like, you have to stop asking people to validate you
Mm-hmm.
unless you are going to do the method that they train.
Yep.
And then they
Makes
can at
sense.
least say, oh, well, you missed up here.
Mm-hmm.
They can help you get the system right. They still can't
Definitely.
tell you if you're going to succeed or not. They can say reasonably, you have followed my thing. And every time I've looked at a campaign that has followed my formula, it does well.
Yep.
Every single person who has had the most success on the the Kickstarter Launchpad
Mm-hmm.
accelerator, whatever it was, is somebody who said, I just did literally exactly what you said. And
Mm-hmm.
I launched to 5, 10, 15 grand. And like, I don't know how it worked, but like, this is the thing. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Because
Yep.
now I know that if you follow the formula and you have this size audience and you have this many pre-launch followers, this is the expectation for your next campaign,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you don't run it next week.
Right.
That
And
makes
that's
sense?
the potato squirrel equals two. Like you don't need to know how it works, you just need to know that it works and it's consistent.
Yes,
So
I
I
know
think
that
that's
if you run a campaign that's like the one I want, and you set a goal of $500, you will likely succeed.
mm-hmm.
If you do not succeed, then I can look back and say, how big was your audience? Oh, your mailing list was only 20 people. Let's
Yep.
bump that to 200 people and then try again.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, you had $5,000 for your goal and but you made 1,500. So you made three times more than what I said you would make.
Right.
But you failed because you didn't do the right thing. Like there are ways that I
Mm-hmm.
can like make this work the next time and iterate
Yep.
until it is working.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
you have to do it
Mm-hmm.
the right way. And there are an infinite number of ways to succeed.
Yep.
But if you are going to go your own way, you cannot then rely on other people to tell you
Yep.
what the way is. You have to just be like, I'm gonna FAFO.
Yep.
And that's what I did for 10 years. And I was like,
Yep.
well, I see this kind of working over here and this kind of working over here. So I'm just gonna put them together and be like, each of these two people made 100 million, made $100,000. So like probably if I do some combination, I'll do something. And like over time, I
Mm-hmm.
built a system that worked.
Mad
You can
scientist out
do
of
that.
this.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can do that. But like I couldn't then go to me from like I couldn't go to Gene Wesley Smith and be like, "Hey, my Kickstarters aren't working. What am I doing wrong?" Because he'd be like, "Well, everything." Because
Hmm.
I told you the way that you should run it. I
Right.
have a course. Like I have a course. So obviously I think this is the right way to run. And
Hmm.
people could all the time are like, "Well, what did I do wrong?" I'm like, "You didn't follow the system." And they're like, "Ego much?" And I'm like, "But I obviously think the most effective, the right way to do this is this way because I released a book about it. So
Right.
like if you are going to do things that I don't train, then I will
Then
obviously
you can't
say that it
diagnose
is
them.
wrong.
Right.
I'm
And
going
you
to say
can't.
it's wrong.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That makes
exactly.
sense. That makes
Anyway,
perfect
so
sense. So,
like do either FAFO and don't have any expectations and then be like,
yep.
well, that was
Here I
bad.
am.
I gotta do it. I gotta do it again. But don't beat yourself up over that either.
Right.
Like,
Because experimentation, it works or it doesn't. And if even if it doesn't, you learn things.
right. So yes. Okay. So we're way over time. I do have
That's okay.
this is a but this is a thing that I learned recently. And I'm gonna now that we've spent an hour together, maybe I can say it to you without triggering something. But like I learned recently that all anxiety is a lie. And here's why I will say about that. It's not that your experience with anxiety is a lie. It is that
Right.
what anxiety does is trigger your fight or flight response, right?
Hmm. Yep.
And the only legitimate way to trigger your fight or flight response, like if evolutionarily,
Right.
when you look at all every other animal, is if you were in immediate physical danger,
Yep.
then your fight or flight response is right. Yes,
Yep.
you need to be able to run away,
Right.
but then you need to
Exactly.
be able to come down immediately.
Hmm.
Just like any, I was in Gora Crater, and I watched this whole group of 100 different animals, and one of those animals was a hyena, and he was just chilling, like walking
Hmm.
through this thing. No one ran from them. They just like, all right, well, you're not attacking me now, so like whatever. And
Yep.
like that is when a predator is just walking near them. And even that does not trigger that response. So
Hmm.
either when you are anxious about these, like, oh my God, I'm doing it wrong, either you are in immediate physical danger, in which case run, get out, like
Yep.
run, like get out, like or freeze or possum or whatever. The thing is that your response is, but like save yourself.
Hmm.
But otherwise, that is anxiety and it is lying to you
Yep.
because the only reasonable way why your fight or flight response should be triggered is because you
Yep.
are in immediate physical danger.
Yep.
Our brain thinks that
Oh
psychological
yeah.
danger, future danger, all of
Yep.
these things are worth triggering it. But
Yep.
evolutionarily, that is not true. So,
Yep.
almost all of the work that I do on myself now is about being like, oh, well, am I in danger? Nope. Well, and to go back to the thing that we just been talking
Yeah.
about, like if you have a launch that is not bad, that goes bad, and you start going, oh my God, what am I going to do for money now? How am I going to blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and you start like
The
panicking,
panic. Hmm.
that is not immediate physical danger.
Right. Nobody's gonna
And
eat you.
right. And thus you should find ways to calm yourself. And the only reasonable thing to do if you are in immediate physical danger is to get to a place where you are safe and then
Calm
calm
yourself down.
yourself down.
Hmm.
So, all of these things are mainly anxiety bubbling up, telling us we are unsafe. But
Hmm.
unless we are in immediate physical danger, all of that is just you panicking about the future, and you can't control the future.
Nope.
If you want to control the future, then you should start building an audience and doing things
Yep.
now so that
Hmm.
in a year, when that audience settles and they know who you are, they are willing to bite.
Absolutely.
So that is
That
the
is
last thing that I want to say.
I think that is an excellent note to end on. So thank you so much for spending this time. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure my audience will get a lot out of this. And I look forward to seeing you at Author Nation. Are you going to be there this year? I think you are,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I look forward to seeing you again at Author Nation, and we will catch up there. And hopefully, I get a chance to hang out with you because we're always really busy going
Yeah.
opposite directions.
Sounds great. Look forward to it.
Thank you
Bye.
so much. Take care.